1 year ago, I uploaded my first video and I had no idea what I was getting into. If you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, here is everything I wish I knew. I first started my YouTube channel as part of an exercise for this business coaching container that I was a part of last year. So I didn't really have any expectations for it. I was more so doing it to push myself to do something that made me incredibly uncomfortable at the time, which was getting in front of a camera and talking. And I did all of this with the intention of just becoming a better provider and being able to assist my clients better. I told myself that I would give it at least a year before deciding whether or not this is something that I wanted to continue. And even though I had that longer timeline, I still found myself pretty early on realizing that there is a very big difference between expectations and reality. At the beginning, it was the novelty of something new that really kept me motivated and engaged and energized and just really on top of all of the YouTube content creation stuff that goes into making a finished video. But then the comparisons started coming in, which I had kind of thought that it would, but you know, it's so different when you're actually finally doing it and you start with the comparisons and you start, looking at the analytics and refreshing the view count and all of those things. And these were things that had always kept me from really taking any kind of social media presence seriously, even as it relates to business, just because it's such a stressful and really draining aspect of trying to build a presence online. And even though having a big channel wasn't my goal, there were still times that I really struggled with motivation and questioning whether or not an idea that I had initially thought was really great and interesting, I would later find myself wondering if it was actually interesting enough for me to make a whole video about it, or if anybody would even care what I had to say in the video. And despite the fact that I've done tons of schooling and I have a lot of experience in a wide range of different health fields, and I've been in practice now for over 5 years as an acupuncturist and Chinese medicine doctor, I was not anticipating really having to look imposter syndrome in the eye and really face it head on and overcome so many self-limiting beliefs that I had been aware of, at the back of my mind, but were really just in my face throughout this whole process. But now that I've hit the 1 year mark, I'm so thankful that I stuck with it, because not only have I learned so much about YouTube and the process, the creative process and video editing and all of those things that are just obvious when it comes down to thinking about creating a YouTube channel, I have also learned so much about myself along the way, and the growth that I've experienced in myself has just made this whole journey so much more worth it. Throughout this journey, if I could kind of just boil down all of my experiences into some key lessons, it would be 3. And the first one is that consistency always beats perfection. If you aim for perfection in your YouTube videos or in any process that you are in, it's going to be so difficult for you to keep any kind of motivation going. Nothing is ever going to feel good enough. You're going to find yourself in this cycle where the goalposts just continue moving forward and you can never quite reach them. You will never feel that level of satisfaction because nothing is ever going to be perfect. The only way to get good at something, if you are thinking about starting a YouTube channel, the only way to get good at it, to be comfortable in front of the camera, to feel confident that you can edit a video easily, or to get more into the creative process of writing and all of those things, is to actually practice. And especially at the beginning, if you're like an ultra newbie to all of this stuff, video editing and speaking in front of a camera and writing scripts and doing your research, all of that stuff, which is exactly where I was a year ago, every single video that you make is part of this practice. And consistency really is going to be the fastest way that you are going to get where you want to be. It's so much easier to recognize and acknowledge all of your little wins along the way when you focus on consistency over perfection, and when you can really focus on those little wins that are on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. That is what is going to keep you motivated and inspired and energized to just keep pushing when you're not receiving those instant gratification markers of having a video go viral, or maybe not having as many views as you would like, and all of these little things that you can start nitpicking about yourself instead of focusing on all like the progress that you have made from one video to the next. And I also really want to point out that consistency doesn't just mean uploading a video on the same day and at the same time every single week. It's also consistency in the creative process and how you show up for your audience. I'm just now coming back from a 2-month unplanned break from YouTube, and I didn't take that time because I didn't have the time to make videos, but some circumstances kind of came up over the last couple months, as they do, and my emotional and mental energy was really being focused elsewhere. I knew that I just wasn't going to have the bandwidth to show up fully, and so I decided to give myself permission to take a little bit of a step back in order to ensure that I was being consistent in all of its aspects. And chances are, if you are a newbie and if you already have a full-time career and this is just kind of a hobby or you're trying to start a new business online, chances are that you are going to run into this dilemma at some point in your journey as well. And you definitely don't have to handle it the way that I did, but just give yourself some grace and remember that this is all just part of the journey. Lesson number 2, and this one is for sure going to resonate with you on some level. It's that the cringe is part of the process. It has definitely gotten a lot better for me at this point, and I still definitely experience moments where I am just have a cringe moment while I'm making a video. I've had a couple already while I've been filming this one. Don't get me wrong, it's still kind of something that I'm working through and probably something that you can resonate with at some level as well. But at the beginning, there's just so much cringe. Again, it goes back to being in the practice of being consistent and not beating yourself up when your videos inevitably are not perfect. These are just growing pains of learning a new technique, of learning new skills, of practicing on having certain presence that you might not usually use in your day-to-day life. It's all about practicing and really putting in the reps. That's the only way that you are going to get better. That's the only way that you are going to become more confident. That's the only way that you are going to be able to really just put together the kinds of videos that you are already imagining in your head on uploading and becoming a part of your channel and your online presence. And one thing to know throughout this is that I can promise you that nobody that's watching your videos is experiencing the same level of cringe that you are. So just laugh it off, shake it off, and just keep moving forward. It's always helped me to remind myself that all of these other YouTubers, even like the big name YouTubers that have millions of subscribers, they all started right where you are right now, right where I am right now, and they've also experienced similar growing pains on some level. So just don't take it too seriously and remind yourself that all of this is also just part of the process. The third lesson that I've learned, and I would say that this is probably the most important one and also the one that I struggle the most with, is that analytics is just data. It does not reflect your self-worth, and it does not accurately reflect the quality of your content. It is way too easy to start comparing yourself to start comparing your YouTube journey to somebody that is months or years ahead of where you are. And it's even easier to start comparing yourself to a new channel who had a viral video and all of a sudden they've seen explosive growth in their subscriber count overnight. The truth is, there are so many factors involved when it comes down to getting your video in to be shown to the right people. And analytics is really simply just another set of information that you should be using to guide yourself along the way. Really focus on creating content that you enjoy and, most importantly, that adds value to your audience. It really doesn't matter if your video only gets 100 views or less than that. It is something that is going to continue growing as long as you are focusing on creating quality content that really adds value to the person that is watching it. It will get shown to the right people and you will continue to grow, and ultimately the right people will find your video, they will find your channel, and they will turn into subscribers. Personally, I don't have a very large subscriber count by any means, but even with the small audience that I do have, I've had really cool connections and have had really interesting conversations in the comment sections and people messaging me and things like that, of just quick little connections that might not seem like a lot from the outside looking in, but that have just been very cool in terms of me personally learning something new, or being shown a different way of thinking about things, or even just receiving messages from someone that really resonated with whatever it is that I had to share in that particular video. And knowing that even just one person has found value in the video that I put out has made this whole thing worth it. If you are already on YouTube, I'm really curious to know what your biggest lesson has been. I'd love to know in the comments. And if you are just starting, let me know what your biggest fear is, because I am almost certain that if not me personally, someone else in the community has probably experienced that fear for themselves. And putting your fears and your concerns and all of these limiting beliefs out there kind of allows you to connect with other people and realize that we all kind of feel the same way on some level. At some point we can kind of relate to each other. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you have anything that resonates with what I just said. So in addition to the lessons that I just went over and kind of what I alluded to in the beginning of my video, how has this journey changed me personally? I feel like that's such a big one, and it's such an unexpected aspect to making content on YouTube. And I'm sure this is something that every creator can probably add to in their own way. Because over the last year, being on YouTube has taught me so much more than just how to create and edit videos and how to be more confident in front of the camera. This whole process has really given me the confidence to own my voice and to really start to embrace the gifts that I want to share with the world. The truth is, we all have a gift. We all have something unique to share. We all have something that really tugs at us and makes us feel alive. There's so much energy in that, and to be completely honest, there's a lot of fear that can come up with really embracing and leaning into that tug. And I was really not expecting YouTube to help me with that aspect of my journey. It has also taught me how to be consistent with something that doesn't give me a clear and immediate reward, which is definitely something that I've struggled with for as long as I can remember. And so yes, like this is definitely something that comes in handy when you are trying to grow your channel and you're able to just continue pushing through, not seeing any kind of immediate return on the effort that you put into that week's video. But life-changing outcomes are often held in those small yet consistent daily habits and practices that we keep. It's a great skill to have when you're trying to get healthier, when you're trying to get in better shape, or when you're just trying to start a business. This is a skill that will teach you how to keep pushing forward when you inevitably don't receive that instant gratification that we all crave. And even though YouTube is a small aspect of my life, keeping this promise to myself has really had a trickle effect into other areas of my life, where I've been able to move so much closer to where I ultimately want to be in my career because of it. And as cliche as this sounds, I truly did not understand really the depth of this saying, is that along the way, along this journey of YouTube, I've learned to truly appreciate the journey and to be present with it without focusing so much of my energy on what I want the outcome to be. I really learned to just let go of expectations and to be open with whatever comes. There's been a lot of growth and expansion in this particular area of my life, and with it has come this profound sense of freedom that I wasn't anticipating at all, because once you can let go of not being so focused and tied to having a specific outcome, it just completely dissolves any kind of resistance that you have in your life. And really, when you can just continue moving in the direction that feels good, that calls to you without having a specific end goal in mind, or that's not true, having an end goal in mind but not having a specific way for that goal to manifest or for it to look like. It allows all of these unexpected opportunities and avenues for growth and personal development, and really an exploration of self along your journey that you might not have been able to experience otherwise. And all of this really gave me the permission that I needed to just have fun with it, instead of it turning into this other thing that I had on my to-do list and having all of this pressure on myself, and really just allowed me to embrace it and enjoy it instead of taking it too seriously. So if you've ever thought of starting a YouTube channel, do it. I can guarantee that it will change you in ways that you did not expect.